In the 105s, we have Ashton Rouska facing off against the legend that is Anatolii Novopismennyi.
Ashton has a sizable lead on his total that he's achieved domestically. However, Anatolii Novopismennyi, multiple-time world champion, multiple-time world's best lifter, is nobody to be trifled with and will not relinquish his throne without a fight. Ashton has squatted 363. He has competed internationally. He's been in many battles, well-traveled, battle-tested. That is strong and authoritative.
He's made a statement there. I think he'll take a big jump now, Ryan. But look at this, Anatolii Novopismennyi. He is only with 350 kilos.
And this is surprising. I don't know if Anatolii is flying too close to the sun. We're about to find out. This is trouble. This is big, big, big trouble.
Game on. And here comes Ashton Rouska. Look at this, he's taking a 30-kilo jump.
So this is where Ashton's going to cover some ground.
355 on the bar. He goes past Novopismennyi with this, with Anatolii still to respond.
It's not where you start, it's where you finish. That's for sure. Whoa.
Depth is incredible.
Ashton is on point today, and there's more where that came from.
Now he's ahead of Anatolii, so Anatolii needs this world record to get back into the lead. 363.5 to take his own world record squat.
The returning world champion is meeting his greatest threat in loading the bar with the biggest squat he's ever had on his second attempt.
Oh my word.
Goodness! And that's moving like a second attempt, not like a world record where you expect a grind, you expect a fight. There was none of that.
That was incredible. And Ashton has put a world record attempt in for his third. 365.5 to take the record that Novopismennyi just set.
Monster squat and an opportunity to take the lead should he hit, and Anatolii misses.
And his second looked really strong.
While this is heavier than Ashton's previously done, not by a country mile, just 2.5 kilos, it's reasonable.
Cannot afford to miss.
Depth. Whoa, and Ashton
He does not miss.
strikes back, seizing the world record. The battle of the 105s rages on.
Anatolii Novopismennyi coming out now for 370.5. Is it a step too far?
We knew coming into this, Ashton had previously hit the bigger total. The kilos gotta come from somewhere.
And we know he can grind. And he didn't even need to grind.
Didn't need to. He didn't need to. And
Wow.
that's scary.
3 white lights, there is no overturning that. That is the world record and the squat gold.
You know, crazy enough, the conversation might be, did he undershoot? And that's crazy.
Now, you've seen Ashton lift before, Ryan. Does he tend to take big jumps on bench?
He's coming in with a 210 kilo bench PR. Judging by his squat and that opener, I mean, he might be stronger than ever.
Now here we go, Ryan. It's Anatolii Novopismennyi. He's only with 215. This should tell us where he's at.
And if you're wondering about his relatively narrow grip, that's a trademark of Anatolii.
Now, Anatolii called out Ashton Rouska on social media recently, which is uncharacteristic, really.
Yeah, very much. He might have been posed the question and replied, but he replied boldly.
Currently projected 10 kilos behind Anatolii, but as you say, he's the bigger puller. Slowed dramatically towards the top.
But he got it, and you could tell by the expression on his face, he's happy with it. Team USA are really pushing their chips towards the middle in the bench event.
Now here we go, 225 for Anatolii Novopismennyi. World record is at 233.5. Well, what do you think, Ryan? Does he go for it? Mind you, the way he's lifting today, maybe he won't be out deadlifted. He's in incredible shape. Crucial lift coming up now for Ashton Rouska. it's not going.
Oh no, and this is where, unfortunately, it might get worse due to these third attempts. Now, obviously, Anatolii's got to do his part.
He's already got the bench gold. That will not be on his mind at all. Putting up a spirited defense of his world title today.
Yeah, and there's another 5 kilos.
He just keeps on hitting.
6 for 6, and forcing the hand of Ashton. It's going to be a big deadlift at the end of the day for the win.
325 for his opener.
I did the math, and if Anatolii ends up around 355 range, which he's capable of, that'll make Ashton have to pull 380. He's done it before, but that's the very top end range for him.
Well, not super fast. Maybe not looking quite as out there as his squat did. Anatolii is the man in the lead, and here comes the man chasing. It's Ashton Rouska. 332.5, raised his opener ever so slightly. Been looking incredibly strong.
That was fast.
Yeah, I would say that looked easier than Anatolii's.
When they're both at the top ends, it's just who hits the last dead.
Here comes Anatolii. We are already pushing the world record total. 340 on the bar. This will give him 940.5.
Let's see how this moves.
I'm not sure how much more he's got, Ryan.
360 kilos for Ashton.
This won't get him ahead of Anatolii, but it will close the gap.
He's hot on Anatolii's heels. Oh, that was much more convincing, wasn't it?
It really was. So this begs the question now.
Anatolii does not have 15 kilos more in his deadlift, and if he misses, and all Ashton needs is another 5 kilos, I mean, I would bet everything I own that he's got another 5 in his. So, multiple-time world champion in multiple weight classes, 2-time world's best lifter, legend of the game.
That is a shame to lose it on grip.
This will give Ashton 940.5, winning on body weight, and his first world title. For years, we've been waiting for Ashton to appear at the IPF World Championships, and here he is. Ashton Rouska.
There it is.
Your 105-kilo world champion, living up to the hype, answering the questions. Can he meet the standard?
We knew we were in for a fight, and Novopismenny's put up a better fight than a lot of people expected him to.
Yeah, hats off to Anatolii. The great performance by both individuals.
Ashton Rouska is your new 105-kilo world champion on bodyweight ahead of Anatolii Novopismenny.
Okay, champ, how does it feel? Obviously, it seems like every single time an American comes over, there's all of these questions, how they're going to deal with travel. Now the narrative is how they're going to deal with the standard and also the opposition. How do you feel now having answered all those questions?
I feel phenomenal. As far as, training the standard, that wasn't really a problem for me. To be frank, I trained the standard. I trained very hard. As far as the competition, I'm used to competing with the best in the world, man. And it's an honor to continue to prove that I belong among them. Yeah.
Where would you rank this performance in terms of all of your other performances that you've had?
Ooh, good question. Just because I got 3 deadlifts, granted they were like not super, super heavy, but I got 3 deadlifts, so this will be top 5 for sure. And I've done a lot of meets, so that means a lot.
When you arrived, it's international, you're at IPF Worlds, you're watching from the stands, you're at the venue, you're seeing some of it. Did IPF Worlds live up to that end of the hype, and was it as you expected?
Oh, yeah. From USAPL Nationals last year, that meet took a lot out of me. And on the day, I mean, one white light, it would have been a 990, 985-ish total. That took a lot out of me at the time, because that was my first time doing that much weight in the meet. And I just kind of had my foot on the gas for too long. So my training was a bit inconsistent, honestly, going into, Powerlifting American Nationals and even into this one. I mean, it was better than training for Powerlifting, American Nationals, but it was still a bit spotty, especially on deadlifts. It was tough, but I mean, hell, it showed up today. So, we did something that worked. But we kind of have a better template now going forward, and very excited to show you guys what's in the future.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in the shake. We're excited as well. Let's talk about the day of then. Squats. It was a hell of a show, both by you and Anatolii. And at the moment, when it first was happening, were you paying attention and did you see how big his squat was?
I watched every one of his lifts today. So I was paying attention. And, mentally that doesn't throw me off. I usually watch my competition. I'm watching what they're doing. I'm monitoring them. So I know exactly what I need to do in order to come out on top. And it actually enhances my performance. It actually helps me a lot. I knew he was good for a big squat. He doesn't post a lot of his training, but from what I had seen, I knew he was good for a good squat. I knew especially he was good for a good bench, kind of going a little bit off on a tangent, but I know deadlifts were spotty for him. So I knew, I wasn't panicking after bench. I'm like, well, we're probably going to catch him on these deadlifts here. One missed bench, yes, we lost 5 kilos there, but I was fairly confident that we could put whatever we needed on the bar for that win by the time I started warming up for deadlifts. Matt, do you want to chime in?
I want to get your take on this, Matt. In the squat event, things look like it could be a dicey and close battle. What were your thoughts?
Both of these guys came in with big squats. We knew that the world record was going to be in play. It was Anatolii's at 363 kilos, and we were mindful of that the entire time, and we strategically planned for that, and we knew that, we didn't have lot number advantage. So, and Ashton favors a little bit opening lighter and taking larger progressions through the attempts, and we kind of knew that that's how it was going to be. And quite frankly, when I looked up at the board and I saw Anatolii's opener at 350, I thought that was quite a robust opener, considering that his PB is 363.
Right.
That's
what
more
I thought.
that's more in line with what we would presume a second attempt ish to be.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow.
Were you shocked about how the world record moved? Because for myself, in the booth, moved like a second attempt.
Yep, it did. It moved really well. I mean, presumably at that point, at least in the squat, we knew that this guy arrived in top form, but I knew that Ashton had plenty in the tank as well. So we weren't the least bit intimidated. We were, like I said, strategic. We planned for this. And we knew that we had that as well. By the same token, we didn't want to unintentionally empty the tank on the squat. We didn't need to, because I've got the best deadlifter right here. Right. And so when you have that ace card up your sleeve, it's more about just us keeping pace or maintaining a pace. You know what I mean? And not putting ourselves in a vulnerable position. And, we had the lighter body weight. So, when Anatolii took 370.5, we still had, the advantage. So we were in good shape heading into benches.
How did you feel coming out of the squat event, going 3 for 3, hitting that 365, and your celebration, it looked like you were on point.
Yeah, no. Squat. Matt, I couldn't have said it better. When what Matt just went through. We planned for this. It was very strategic. I knew in my mind that no matter what, if we put 365 on that bar, it was coming up. I'm a slow squatter anyway, so it actually felt. The third actually felt better than the second to me, as I was moving it. I was very, very comfortable doing it.
And how about the reception of the crowd when you hit your third squat? Did you have a moment to drink it in? It looked like you were.
Oh, I did. Yeah. Honestly, all 9 attempts, man. I mean, it was fantastic. The crowd. I mean, they were just super supportive. Like I told Bob, they like me. So.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
kidding.
All right. How about the bench press? So obviously, prep and bench have been going well, and you anticipated more from bench, or what were you?
Yes. You caught me there. So, I think one of the mistakes, a very small mistake, splitting hairs. We talked about this. One of the small mistakes I think I made going into this meet was just slightly decreasing the intensity on bench versus what I normally do. So my top end didn't show up as good as it normally does. For squat and deadlift, for me, it works really well. And since I'm lifting a lot of weight, I feel very recovered by the time I get to game day. But for bench, it threw me off just a hair. But I was honestly expecting to feel good for 17 and a half after 200. When I did 210, I was like, whoa, something's up, and I saw we jumped 5. So I was like, all right, well, give it the old college try.
Right, sorry. Matt, how about yourself? Anatolii went 3 for 3. You guys pacing obviously for around 217-ish, but
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we knew that Anatolii is the stronger bencher, out of the two lifters, and we anticipated. I mean, quite frankly, I thought Anatolii might, try to, gain more advantage and take a shot at the world record bench, which I believe is 233 and a half. So when I saw that he was opening at 215, I said, oh, well, if he jumps 10 kilos, and then it might be a situation. But they kind of played it safe. They wanted to build their total as well. They didn't want to risk missing. So they were smart. They took 230 on their third attempt. And I think Ashton's PB, I believe, is 215. So yeah, and so that would have been a tie. We would have tied his personal best, but it was just a stitch too much. But the 210 was a good bridge builder, if you will. It also added some valuable kilos to our total. And then heading into the deadlifts, at subtotal we were behind by 25, but we had body weight advantage. So we felt very confident heading into deadlifts that we just needed to play our game and let this guy do his thing and execute like the pro that he is, and that's how it turned out.
25 kilos behind going in. If he hit his top end, because he had top end squat,
Right.
near top end bench.
Yep.
If he hit his top end deadlift,
Yep.
you would be deadlifting into the 380s, around 380,
380.
which you've done. But you might be asked to load up the most, equal your previous PR. Were you aware of that possibility?
Yep.
And and how did you feel about that? Were you just ready to answer that?
Oh, I felt confident. Yeah. My warm-ups for deadlifts moved great. And usually by the time I get to around 600 pounds, I can tell if I've got 850. And today I was very confident. If I had to pull 380, 837, I was confident that I could produce that on the platform. Very confident.
How about yourself, Matt?
100%. We knew coming in, I believe Anatolii's PB in the deadlift is 352 and a half. And one of the things that we had talked about is we knew with the progressions that Ashton likes to take typically, we knew our second attempt in all likelihood was going to be more than Anatolii even would finish with. So even giving Anatolii a PB, let's say, overall, had he pulled the 3, we still knew that our second attempt was going to be heavier. So we felt at that point like we were beginning, the tide was beginning to turn, the tables were shifting, if you will, and we were sitting in a really good position. So when we hit that 360 kilo second attempt, that put us in a really fantastic position. And then, of course, Anatolii, I believe, went 340 on his second attempt.
Yeah.
And it, I looked at that attempt and I was like, there was some struggle there. They originally submitted 355. Yeah. So I immediately put it. No, but I immediately put in 380 because that's the number that we would have needed. Yeah. And I knew that he was good for that. Everybody on our team, his coach, Marcellus Williams, myself, my wife, Susie, the assistants, all of us felt like, hey, 380's there if we need it. We're just going to play the wait and see game.
When he ended up missing and you had 365, I literally said, I will bet everything I own that Ashton hits this. It was over. Yeah. I'm sure you were just as confident.
I was 100% sure that I was going to murder 365.
Yeah. That's a fact. So you won your first world title. What is next? Obviously Sheffield, World Games, but you have options.
Yes. It's hard to say, man. I really want to do 93 again, at least my last run in powerlifting before I'm out. Sheffield, I think I might need to do 105. World Games might be a different conversation. There's just a little bit of unfinished business in 105 for me. I really wanted to get right at 1,000 or as close to 1,000 as I can. I think today I had the strength for 960-ish. A little bit more on squat, a little bit more on deadlift, 962-ish. Close to meet PR, but not quite. But I'm thinking that we're getting a lot closer again. So, with a few months of, healing, good training, I'm very confident that we can blow something up crazy in January and, hell, potentially win it. So that's kind of where my mind is at right now. As far as the World Games go, as far as I understand, the 93 and the 105s are both in the heavyweight men category.
That's right.
So, anything goes.
Well, Ash, you got some celebrating to do, young man.
At least tomorrow morning, yeah.
That's right. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
As always, and we'll talk again later.
All right.